Hey kids, Carl here. Welcome everybody. I'm trying something new, a little different technology here, doing a little screen capture using my iPad. And I'm hoping if this works out well, I'll be able to make a little video and show you guys a little bit about what's going on. Today we're going to talk about, okay, get off there, we go. Today we're going to talk about my route planning and weather planning and what I'm working around trying to get around Florence and heading south. So let me go ahead and jump. We're going to start by going right into Navionics. So hold on a second. Let me switch here to Navionics. Okay. That's the New Jersey coastline. Okay, the little red arrowhead that you see right about in the middle of your screen right now, right there, that's me. What I've got to do is I have got to leave Port Washington. I've got to go up around the bridges, entering into the Hellgate area, down through Hellgate, along this really tight, narrow passages, down the East River, around Manhattan, and work my way out into the bay. That's got to be done on an outgoing tide. I cannot make that passage on anything other than an outgoing tide. And since it's going to be an 8-hour run to get to here, our first night that we're going to stop at Sandy Hook, which we're going to stop where those little anchors are showed there off Sandy Hook. That's an 8-hour run. I've got to be doing it on an outgoing tide, at least the first 4 hours on an outgoing tide to get to Sandy Hook. Critical that that happen that way. So ideally, I need an outgoing tide early in the morning so I can make my way down to Sandy Hook. Anyhow, first night down to Sandy Hook, okay? Second night down to Barnegat Bay. Well, let's see, Barnegat Bay is right in this area, right there. So there's Barnegat Bay. That would be my second night stop down along the New Jersey coast, down to Atlantic City. That would be my third stop, would be down in Atlantic City. And then my fourth stop is going to be down here all the way at the end at Cape May. After I leave Cape May, I go around the coast into the Chesapeake, and my first anchorage is going to be, let me see, right here. That's going to be my first anchorage there at Cohansey Light once I get past. So what I'm looking at here is I'm looking at one day I've got to get down here to the northern tip of New Jersey, and then I've got 1, 2, 3 stops where I am exposed to the ocean, 4 stops where I'm still exposed to the ocean even though I'm up inside Delaware Bay. It's wide open out to the ocean. Before I can get into the C&O Canal, and just so you guys know, right here in the canal, that anchorage basin right there is in fact the first hurricane hole that I will have access to as I leave Port Washington. So I've got I need 6 nights, basically, 7 days of weather to make my way down along the coast there. And so that is, let me switch back over to here. So that's a long run. I've got to have at least 6 or 7 days to get around the New Jersey coast because it's going to be offshore sailing right along the coast. I got to worry about wave heights because I'm going to be on a lee shore. I don't want to get blown onto the coast. I got to worry about wind speeds, of course, wind direction, and I've got to do it in a weather pattern that's manageable. So there's a lot of variables to be. I mean, I don't want to be. I could motor down the entire coast against a small headwind and be okay. Trying to make 50 miles in a day against a headwind when I'm only going to be doing maybe 4 knots with a headwind. It's going to be a long, long, long day. But it's doable, okay? It's doable. But now let's go ahead and look at VentuSky and take a look at what the weather patterns are showing us. So here's VentuSky, one of the programs that I use quite a bit for my weather routing. And here we are for right now, September 8th at 10 a.m. in the morning. So you can see kind of where we're at. There's a New Jersey coastline south of Long Island. The little dot you see there in the center of your screen, That is where I'm at there in Port Washington, New York. So let's go ahead and just move this up to, say, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, midday, just so we have it in the middle of the day. And as you can see, the wind is already picking up off the New Jersey coastline. That's today. The wind's picking up off the New Jersey coastline. Tomorrow, you will see the wind is pretty bad. So this is why I didn't leave this morning, because if I left this morning, I would be, excuse me, I would be out in that stuff right now. Frankly, I'd be getting hammered tomorrow. So let's go ahead and skip it forward a little bit. Let's go to Monday, the 10th. Now, the Monday here, you can see things are moving up. So you're thinking, okay, well, so there's a weather window developing. I could possibly leave on Monday, work my way down along the coast. Not too bad, only about 10-mile-an-hour winds, a little bit of 20 off the coast there, 15, 16 going across Manhattan Harbor. I could probably do that, right? September 11th, next day. Well, headwinds coming down, coming north. 15 to 16 mile-an-hour winds north on the nose as I'm trying to head south. Not a good choice for trying to make any kind of headway, especially since that first day, I've got to get all the way down to Barnegat Bay, about a 50-mile run. That would be near impossible to do. And keep in mind, I don't have a good hurricane hole until I get all the way down into the canal. So as I go to Wednesday the 12th, you say, okay, well, here's another day, not too bad. I could be making my way. By here, I would be getting down to Atlantic City. That's not too bad. I could possibly do that. A lot of bashing into the wind. A lot of big wave action. You know, there's going to be 5-foot waves and stuff happening then. As I go to the 13th, now I would be all the way down here on Cape May. And I would be being hit with 22-mile-an-hour winds. Not an ideal situation. And on 14th, there you go. That's what I would be trying to deal with if I tried to cut up into Delaware Bay that day. I would literally be sailing in a hurricane. As we go to Saturday the 15th, let me back out a little bit here. You go to Saturday the 15th, you can see where I was planning on going. I was going to go up the coast. Let me zoom in. I was going to go up here through this bay and then cross through the canal, which runs straight across about the middle of the screen there. That's where the canal runs. That's where the only hurricane hole is just sort of a little bit above and to the left of where it shows Middletown there. And at that point, the hurricane is right just barely to the south of that is the basically the eye of the storm. Let me zoom out a little bit and show you. I'd be right in the eye of the storm. So that would not be a good place to be. So I'm going to wait out that weather and let all that pass. Saturday the 16th, that's going to be, coming right south of Long Island and now southeast of me. The 17th, it's going to just disappear. And so Monday the 17th looks like the best day for me to be trying to... there we go. So the 17th to me looks like the best day for me to be trying to put the boat back together again. Those couple of days as it travels south of Long Island right through here, they're talking about some huge winds, gust up to 35, 45 miles an hour, high seas, wind surge, storm surge. It's going to be fugly. It's going to be absolutely fugly. So I really don't have a weather window right now. Certainly not an attractive weather window. I don't have an attractive weather window to head out just yet. So, and then let me go back over to Event Use Guys so I can show you a little bit more detail. Now here we are looking at the 17th, what we were looking at a little bit ago. You can see here the storm is kind of moving off, but there was a second storm that was forming, and as we can see here on the 17th, it has completely petered out. So when we go back to the 16th, you can see there is Florence now working her way up the coast. You see there's another hurricane south of the Dominican Republic in the middle of the Caribbean, but it just peters out as it's making its way east. It's still south of the Caribbean. It's not going to turn up and become much of a problem for me for a while. So I think on the 18th, on the 17th, I can start putting my sails back up on the boat, getting the boat ready to go, organized to go again, and hopefully on the 18th then, I should have a good weather window there and be able to head out and start making my way south. So right now, that's the plan. That's why I'm not going right now, because I have to have 5 days or 6 days to get along the New Jersey coast. And I really don't want to go 5 or 6 days and run straight smack into a hurricane, because in the 4 or 5, 6 days it's going to take me to get down the New Jersey coast is the same 5 or 6 days that it's going to take for Florence to move her way up to the New Jersey coast. And so we would literally be, running right into each other just about the time I might, with no problems whatsoever happening, which of course isn't going to happen. Something's going to delay me along the way. I might make it into that hurricane hole. And of course at that point, how many other boats that are already in that area are already going to be in that hurricane hole? And will there even be room for me in that? As you can see, that was a small area. Would there even be room for me in that hurricane hole? So that's kind of my thinking on moving forward and getting myself out of Port Washington. I'd love to get out of here as soon as possible, but I'm not going to put the boat in harm's way. I do not like the cold, wet, windy weather up here. I'd like to get, I'd love to be down in the tropics, someplace warm and sandy and comfortable and blue water, but I have to be sane about this and go about it in a reasonable fashion. And a reasonable fashion right now is not to be heading out into the middle of a hurricane. So we're going to sit and we're going to wait and we're going to continue to monitor the weather, looking for that weather window with the hopes of getting out of here just as soon as is possible. Now, old Jimmy Cornell, you can see his book right here behind me, he recommends leaving New York, New Jersey area, Norfolk, Virginia, even Newport certainly. He suggests leaving this area in November and heading south. But he's also talking about making a straight open ocean passage, which of course I don't have the crew to be able to do. I do have a couple individuals who have shared some interest with the idea of coming on board and crewing with me and maybe going that route. So that certainly is a possibility that I'm not ruling out just yet, as opposed to doing the ICW. But we're just going to have to play it by ear and see what happens and see how that develops and kind of take it from there. So anyhow, I hope you've enjoyed this little presentation I'm putting together. I'm trying to figure out ways of being able to make video and good content for you guys without a laptop and the ability to be able to edit. I hope you find this to be a satisfactory facsimile on how I'm going to go about doing that, at least for this sort of conceptual thing. And we're just going to have to kind of take it from here. So with that said, kids, I'm going to go ahead and end this here. You guys be good and be careful. Take good care of one another. And we will see you guys on the next video. So thanks, kids.